Row after row of black caps fill the Southern New Hampshire University auditorium. I scan the faces of proud families clutching bouquets, balloons bobbing against the ceiling, phones raised high to capture every precious moment. 3 empty seats mock me from the 4th row reserved, but abandoned. My phone vibrates. The group text from Mom glows on the screen. Sorry, honey. You know how Uncle Mike gets about Super Bowl Sunday? Been hosting for 20 years. We'll celebrate next weekend, Axo. I click the screen dark, fingers trembling. 6 years of night classes flash through my mind. Double shifts at the insurance company. Dinner from vending machines. Every invitation declined because I had to study. Every holiday worked so someone else could be with their family. The reliable Toyota I sold to pay for my final semester. The health insurance I canceled to cover books. Lauren Elizabeth Summers. My row stands. The dean's voice echoes through the sound system as I walk toward the stage. My sensible heels click against the hardwood, the only pair I own, bought at Goodwill for interviews. The weight of my graduation gown feels heavier with each step. Bachelor of Business Administration, summa cum laude. The dean's smile is warm as she hands me my diploma. I force my lips to curve upward, but my eyes keep drifting to those empty seats. The paper in my hands represents thousands of hours of sacrifice. Endless nights hunched over textbooks while my family hosted neighborhood parties downstairs, telling me to study in my room because you're the one who wanted this degree so badly. My chest tightens as I return to my seat. The ceremony continues, but I barely register the remaining names. My phone buzzes again. Dad this time. We'll catch the next one. The next one. Like, I'm going to spend another 6 years earning another degree just so they can skip that graduation too. Just like they skipped my community college graduation 3 years ago. Car trouble, they said. But Facebook showed them at my brother Jack's Super Bowl party, Mom proudly displaying her 7-layer dip, Dad wearing his lucky jersey. The same brother who borrowed $3,000 for rent last year. I found out through his Instagram story him waving Super Bowl tickets, caption reading, "Sometimes you gotta treat yourself." The dean's closing remarks fade into background noise. All I can hear is the echo of conversations that should have warned me. Lauren, honey, you're so good with money. Your father just needs a little help with the mortgage. Come on, sis, what's family for if we can't help each other out? You're not using your savings for anything important right now anyway. The ceremony ends. Families flood the aisles, wrapping graduates in tearful embraces. I stand alone in my wrinkled gown, the February wind whipping through the open doors of the auditorium. My diploma case feels like ice in my hands. I dial Mom's number, stepping into the cold parking lot. My eyes blur as I listen to the ring, watching happy families stream past with armfuls of flowers. Oh, Lauren, how was it, sweetie? Mom's voice carries the artificial brightness she uses when she knows she's done something wrong. In the background, I hear the clinking of dishes, the rumble of crowd noise, the sportscaster's voice announcing the pre-game show. How was it? My voice cracks. How was walking across that stage knowing nobody who claims to love me bothered to show up? Now, honey, you know it's tradition. Uncle Mike's been hosting for 20 years. I spent 6 years earning this degree, Mom. 6 years. Don't be dramatic. The sympathy in her voice vanishes. It's just a piece of paper. You can show it to us next weekend. Dad's voice carries through the phone. Tell her we'll catch the next one. The next one. Like this moment could ever be recreated. Like 6 years of my life meant nothing more than a minor scheduling conflict. I stand in the February cold, tears freezing on my cheeks, and finally see the truth I've been avoiding. They never saw me. They only saw what I could do for them. The reliable daughter. The human ATM. The one who would sacrifice everything to keep them happy while they gave nothing in return. My fingers move across the phone screen, pulling up the airline app I downloaded months ago but never had the courage to use. A one-way ticket to Colorado appears. The Vail Mountain Lodge spa package I've dreamed about but always dismissed as selfish. One click. My first truly selfish act in years. The confirmation email arrives as I walk to my car, diploma clutched against my chest like a shield. Behind me, the last families exit the auditorium, their laughter and celebration fading into the winter air. Would you have forgiven your family for missing the biggest day of your life? I already know my answer. With these thoughts, I went home and started preparing for my upcoming trip. Now, a week later, the hot stones trace a path along my spine, each point of warmth melting 6 years of tension. My first real massage. A gift to myself that would have bought 3 textbooks last semester. My phone vibrates against the wooden table beside me. Again. The 13th time in 2 hours. Would you like me to put that in airplane mode for you? The masseuse's voice floats through lavender-scented air. Her hands never stop their gentle pressure. No, the word catches in my throat. I need to know. Need to know what fresh disaster my family creates while I hide in this mountain sanctuary. Need to see how they spin my disappearance. Need proof I made the right choice. The stones shift to my shoulders. My phone buzzes again. Tara's text breaks through the barrage of family messages. Check Facebook when you can. You need to see this. The massage ends too soon. I wrap myself in the plush robe provided by Vail Mountain Lodge, hands shaking as I unlock my phone. 3 voicemails, 14 texts. 1 email with the subject line, "Your mother is crying." I start with Mom's voicemail. "Lauren, honey, I hate to ask, but we're a little short this month. Just need $500 for groceries. You know how prices are these days." Dad's message follows. "Princess, remember that loan I mentioned? The bank needs a co-signer, nothing to worry about, just a formality, call me back." Jack's voice drips with familiar manipulation. "Sis, you'll never believe what happened. Lost my wallet at Uncle Mike's. Need to borrow some cash until payday. Don't tell Mom and Dad, okay?" My finger hovers over Tara's message. The robe suddenly feels too warm, too confining. I open Facebook. The first post punches the air from my lungs. Mom's perfect 7-layer dip arranged on Uncle Mike's coffee table. Another successful Super Bowl spread. 20 years of tradition. The timestamp matches my graduation ceremony. Jack's post follows. Put $5K on the Chiefs. Who's with me? Posted an hour after texting me about his lost wallet. Comments flood the photos. Relatives praising Mom's cooking. Friends congratulating Jack on his bet. Dad sharing links to next year's Super Bowl packages. Not one mention of my graduation. Tara's message blinks. "There's more. Check your credit report." The spa's Wi-Fi crawls as I log into Credit Karma. Unauthorized inquiries litter my report like cigarette burns. Chase, American Express, 3 different store cards, all within the past month. My phone rings. Mom's number. "Have you thought about that grocery money, honey? Times are tight." The stones from my massage sit in a heated basket nearby. I imagine hurling them through the window, watching the perfect Colorado snow shatter like my illusions. "Lauren, are you there? Times aren't tight enough to skip betting on the Super Bowl, are they?" Silence crackles through the connection. Then, "Jack shouldn't have posted that. He's just excited." Stop. My voice sounds foreign, stretched tight across fury and grief. "I saw the pictures, Mom. While I walked across that stage alone, you were arranging dip on Uncle Mike's coffee table. Now, Lauren, family helps family. That's what we do." Family helps family. The laugh tears my throat. Is that why there are credit inquiries I never authorized on my report? The silence stretches longer this time. In the background, I hear Dad's voice. "Is that Lauren? Tell her about the loan. Don't you dare." The words slice through Mom's excuses. "Don't you dare ask me for one more thing." My finger finds the block button as Dad's voice rises. The screen goes dark. Relief floods my system, chased immediately by crushing guilt. Good daughters don't block their parents. Good daughters don't run away to luxury spas while their families need help. My phone lights up with Tara's call. I talk to my cousin Sarah. She's a lawyer, specializes in identity theft. She says you need to file a police report immediately. I can't do that to them. The words come automatically, programming too deep to override. They're family. Honey, family doesn't steal your identity. Family doesn't miss your graduation for a football game. Family doesn't. A knock interrupts. The spa concierge stands in my doorway, concern etched across her features. "Miss Summers? We've upgraded you to our Mountain View suite. No charge." I didn't ask for. "You're not the first person I've seen make these calls." She steps inside, closing the door softly. "My mother emptied my accounts the day I graduated college. Said I owed her for raising me." The tears finally break free. She hands me a tissue, then another. "The suite has a better security system," she adds quietly. "And a private entrance." My phone vibrates. Another credit alert. They opened a Macy's card in my name yesterday. I pick up my phone, hands steady now. Tara? Give me Sarah's number, and the name of a good accountant. The mountain snow falls outside my window, each flake a promise of fresh starts, of boundaries sharp as February frost, of a life where love doesn't require sacrifice, a life where I'm finally free. My phone buzzes one last time before I block Jack's number. His message glows like a warning. You're selfish if you won't help Dad out, after everything they've done for you. Everything they've done for me. Like missing my graduation to watch football. Like stealing my identity while I earned my degree. Like teaching me that love means giving until you break. I text Tara back. I'm ready. Call Sarah. When does family loyalty become self-destruction? I already know my answer. After the vacation was over, I came back to my apartment, met with Sarah and Tara, and prepared the necessary documents to fight my family. They need to learn boundaries once and for all. A whole month has passed that way. Now, on a Thursday night, the banging on my apartment door jolts me awake at 3 a.m. Through the peephole, Dad's red face fills my mind. Mom hovers behind him, wringing her hands in that way she does when she wants something. Jack leans against the hallway wall, arms crossed, watching the show. I step back from the door, phone already in hand. The landlord's number rings twice. Miss Thompson? I'm so sorry to bother you this late, but your family is here claiming they need emergency access to retrieve their property. My laugh comes out harsh. Their property? Everything I own I bought myself, with the money they borrowed and never paid back. Should I call the police? I watch Dad pound the door again. The wood frame shudders. Yes, please. My phone lights up with Mom's latest voicemail. I tap play, setting it on speaker while I pack. Lauren, honey, how could you do this to us? After all we've done for you. Her voice breaks with practiced perfection. I've heard this performance before. When she needed money for the roof, that never got fixed. When Jack needed bail money, that bought Super Bowl tickets. When Dad's business was struggling, while he gambled away his savings. The next message plays automatically. Dad's voice booms through the speaker. I'll tell everyone what kind of daughter you really are. Ungrateful, selfish. After we sacrificed everything. I delete the rest without listening. My hands shake as I dial the number Tara's lawyer cousin gave me. He picks up after 3 rings. Financial abuse documentation? The advisor's voice carries no judgment, just quiet competence. Bring everything you have. Bank statements, loan documents, any texts or emails showing patterns of manipulation. I entered my cabinet 2 minutes later. My filing cabinet yields 6 years of evidence. Every emergency loan, every guilt, inducing request, every promise of repayment broken. The stack grows higher on my kitchen table while red and blue lights flash through my window. The police arrive as Jack starts his performance. Sis, come on, open up. We're worried about you. Their voices fade as officers escort them away. I sink into my chair, surrounded by papers that tell the story of my family's betrayal in cold, hard numbers. But I won't give up. I rearrange the documents and put them into a bag. They are proof of what my family has done to me all these years. I was ready to meet my lawyer early in the morning. Morning brings clarity and steel into my spine. The lawyer's office smells of leather and authority. My documentation spreads across his mahogany desk like battle plans. Identity theft. He taps the credit report showing cards opened in my name. Unauthorized loans. Financial coercion. Each term lands like a hammer, nailing down the coffin of my family's manipulation. The email he helps me craft takes 10 minutes to write and a lifetime of courage to send. Any further contact will go through my attorney. Attempts to contact me directly will be documented as harassment. I expect silence. Instead, my laptop screen fills with their faces, a video call I shouldn't answer but do. One last time. Dad's mask slips instantly. You owe us. We raised you. Raised me? The words taste like vinegar. You raised me to be your personal bank, your safety net, your get-out-of-jail-free card. Jack's face reddens. You think you're better than us now, with your fancy degree and your... Better? No, just awake. Mom's tears start right on cue. When they don't work, her expression hardens. We're your family. Family helps family. Family doesn't steal identities. Family doesn't open credit cards in their daughter's name. Family shows up for graduation. The screen goes black. After the meeting, I went straight back to my office for further preparations. The same day, the atmosphere at my office feels different, safer. Messages of support flood my phone. Tara's flight confirmation to help me move. An offer of temporary housing in Portland from the spa retreat owner who witnessed my breakdown. The Portland job offer arrives that afternoon. 6 figures, signing bonus. A fresh start 3,000 miles away. My hands steady as I download the credit freeze forms. The cease and desist letter goes out certified mail. Each signature feels like breaking a chain. I stand at my office window, watching the sunlight paint the sky in colors of possibility. For the first time in my life, the weight of family obligation lifts from my shoulders. The air tastes different, lighter, sweeter. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. I silence it without checking. Next to me, on the desk, Portland contracts wait for my signature. Behind me, the wall calendar shows the end of March marked with red X's, counting down the days until my new life begins. The question echoes in my mind as I sign my name. How much is your peace of mind worth? Everything, it turns out, everything. 2 weeks later, I am moving out. The cardboard box scrapes against my apartment floor as I slide it toward the door. My entire life in Hartford fits into 12 boxes, each labeled in precise black Sharpie. The movers arrive in 20 minutes. My phone hasn't rung in 3 days, the longest silence from my family since I blocked their numbers. I touch the diploma hanging on my wall, tracing the gold embossing one last time before wrapping it in bubble wrap. The frame cost 2 weeks of grocery money, but seeing my achievement properly displayed instead of stuffed in a drawer helped me sleep at night. A knock at the door sends my heart racing until I hear Tara's voice. Lauren? You decent? She stands in the hallway holding 2 paper coffee cups, her silver hair swept into her signature messy bun. Brought you real coffee. None of that vending machine sludge you usually drink. You're a lifesaver. The rich aroma of French roast fills my nostrils as I take a sip. The movers come at 9. I know. Tara sets her cup down and surveys my apartment. You really did it. You're really leaving. Portland's waiting. The words still feel strange on my tongue. 2 weeks ago, I accepted the department manager position at Western Insurance's Oregon office, double my current salary. Full benefits. A signing bonus that covered first and last month's rent on a downtown apartment. My phone buzzes. Another email from Dad's lawyer demanding a response to their reasonable request for family reconciliation. I delete it without reading. They hired a private investigator, Tara says, watching my face. Jackie from accounting saw him asking questions in the break room yesterday. A laugh bubbles up from my chest, surprising us both. Let them waste their money. By tonight I'll be gone. The movers arrive exactly on time. I watch them load my life into their truck, each box a brick in the wall I'm building between my past and future. My neighbor Mrs. Chen waves from her balcony. She thinks I'm moving for a promotion. She doesn't know about the cease and desist letter in my desk drawer, or the police report documenting years of financial abuse. My LinkedIn post about graduating despite family sabotage went viral last week. 300,000 views, thousands of comments from other survivors, job offers from across the country. Dad's gambling debts exposed in the comments when his bookie's wife recognized our story. Brother Jack's embezzlement from Uncle Mike's construction company revealed by a former employee. The professional community that ignored my family's social media smear campaign embraced me instead. Women in finance, corporate mentors, survivors of financial abuse who recognized their own stories in mine. Thoughts take me to my new apartment in Portland, waiting above the city lights, secured through my future coworker Amanda's real estate connections. The women's professional network there already added me to their leadership committee. My therapist connected me with a support group that meets Tuesday nights. Miss Summers, the head mover, brought me back to reality. He holds out a clipboard. Just need your signature here. I sign my name with steady hands. Through the window, I watch them load the last box, the one containing my mother's china. The set she promised would be mine when I married, then sold at a yard sale to cover Jack's gambling debts. I found identical pieces at estate sales, slowly rebuilding what was stolen. My phone lights up with a text from Amanda in Portland. Office is ready. Team can't wait to meet you Monday. The promotion blindsided my family. Department manager at 30. The position Dad always claimed I'd never qualify for without his connections. The job Jack expected would be his once he put in his time. Tara helps me do one final sweep of the apartment. Under the sink, I find Jack's old baseball trophy, one he threw at my door the night I refused to co-sign his car loan. The glass vase shattered, leaving the golden player eternally pitching to no one. Want to keep it? Tara asks. I drop it in the trash. The hollow thunk echoes through the empty apartment. My phone buzzes again. Uncle Mike's name appears the first family member to contact me directly since the restraining order. Lauren. His voice sounds older than I remember. I saw your post, about graduation day, about the Super Bowl. Uncle Mike. 20 years I hosted that party. 20 years your father used my house to place bets with his bookie buddies. Your brother stealing from my company to cover his losses. He pauses. I'm shutting down the party. Permanently. And I'm pressing charges against Jack. Tears blur my vision as I thank him and end the call. Outside, the moving truck rumbles life. Ready? Tara holds out my coat. I take one last look at the apartment where I spent 6 years studying, dreaming, surviving. The mark on the wall where my diploma hung. The window where I watched so many sunrises, cramming for exams. I'm ready. The door clicks shut behind us. In my pocket, my phone vibrates with another blocked call from my mother. I silence it without looking. Tara drives me to the airport, hugging me tight at security. Show them what you're made of, boss lady. We part and I fly towards my new life. 6 hours later, I stand in my new apartment, watching Portland's lights twinkle through floor-to-ceiling windows. The moving truck arrives tomorrow. Tonight, I have only what fits in my suitcase me diploma, my laptop, and my future. My phone chimes with a calendar reminder. First therapy appointment next week. Dr. Richardson specializes in family trauma and financial abuse. She already helped me draft boundaries for my new life. No contact with family members who participated in financial exploitation. No lending money without a formal contract. No accepting guilt trips or emotional manipulation. No compromising my peace for others' comfort. A text from my new team lights up my phone. Welcome dinner tomorrow night. We're your Portland family now. Family. The word sits differently in my chest now. Lighter. Chosen instead of inherited. Built on respect instead of obligation. I unzip my suitcase and pull out my diploma. Tomorrow I'll hang it in my office, where everyone can see it, where no one will question my right to display it. Where success isn't a betrayal, and ambition isn't a sin. The city lights shimmer like stars fall into earth. Somewhere below, my new life waits. My peace, my power, my truth. I am Lauren Elizabeth Summers, department manager, survivor, warrior. And I am finally, completely free. Freedom, though, isn't the end, it's the beginning of everything I had to rebuild. The next 6 years taught me how to lead without apology, to own my voice in rooms that once silenced me. Step by step, I transformed from the woman who escaped into the one who inspires. Now, 6 months later, they show up again. Security guard John Martinez spots them first. His hand touches my elbow as I prepare to take the stage at the Pacific Northwest Business Leaders Conference. Miss Summers, your family is in the lobby. The words hit like ice water. 300 professionals fill the ballroom, waiting for my keynote on financial independence. My hands tremble as I smooth my blazer, the Emerald St. John I treated myself to after the promotion. They won't get past the doors, John promises. But they do. Dad bursts through just as I reach the podium. His suit hangs loose on his frame, his eyes wild. Jack trails behind, phone raised to record whatever scene they plan to create. Mom clutches her chest, wobbling in practiced distress. That's our daughter, Dad's voice booms across the silent room. She abandoned us, left us to rot while she got rich. I grip the podium. The teleprompter blinks, waiting. 300 faces turn toward the commotion. Our Lauren, Mom wails, breaking her poor mother's heart. The audience murmurs. Phones emerge. My career flashes before my eyes, everything I've built in Portland crumbling under the weight of viral family drama. But something shifts inside me. Therapy. 2 promotions. A restraining order they apparently ignored. I am not that scared girl in the graduation parking lot anymore. Security. I say into the microphone, my voice steady. Please remove these people. They are in violation of a court order. Jack steps forward, phone still recording. We'll sue you for abandonment. For elder abuse, tell them how you left Mom to suffer. A laugh bubbles up, genuine, unexpected. Mom's 58, Jack. And those Instagram posts from her tennis tournament last week suggest she's suffering just fine. The audience titters. Mom drops her hand from her chest, face flushing. You ungrateful little... Dad lunges toward the stage. 4 security guards intercept him. The crowd gasps. Phones flash, but I don't flinch. Ladies and gentlemen, I say into the microphone, you're witnessing exactly why I'm passionate about financial independence. Sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones you need protection from. They drag my family out, Dad shouting about ungrateful children, Mom's theatrical sobs echoing. Jack's phone keeps recording until security confiscates it. The room falls silent. I take a deep breath, straighten my shoulders. My keynote today was going to be about investment strategies, but let's talk about something more important, how to recognize when love becomes a weapon. For the next hour, I tell them everything. The graduation betrayal, the stolen identity, the years of manipulation. The audience leans forward, spellbound. When I finish, they rise as one applause thundering through the ballroom. Margaret Chen from Penguin Random House catches me afterward. We need this story, she says, pressing her card into my hand. Full manuscript on my desk in 6 months? I just nod and go out of the conference room. But the show isn't over. That moment, Dad's latest attorney has 4th fidgets in the lobby. Miss Summers, perhaps we could discuss a settlement? I open my briefcase and show him my documents. Perhaps we should discuss the credit cards opened in my name, fraudulent loan applications, social security number theft. Color drains from the attorney's face as I lay out document after document. 6 years of evidence, bank statements, credit reports, forged signatures. I'll need to consult with my clients, he stammers. No need. A new voice joins us. Detective Sandra Morris holds up a warrant. Robert and Jack Summers, you're under arrest for identity theft and wire fraud. They lead my father and brother away in handcuffs. Mom crumples onto a bench, her performance finally reaching its finale. Lauren, please, she whispers. They didn't mean it. We can still be a family. I study her face, the familiar lines, the manipulation behind her tears. For the first time, I feel nothing but pity. We stopped being a family the day you chose Super Bowl Sunday over my graduation. I just took time to accept it. My mother says nothing, follows them to the police while I go home to prepare for endless meetings and documents for the new clients. A whole week passes in a rash. However, the following Friday afternoon, I will meet my family in the courtroom. The judge will see you now, my lawyer announces. Inside the courtroom, justice arrives in black and white. The restraining order becomes permanent. Dad and Jack's charges multiply as evidence mounts. The judge's gavel echoes like freedom. Uncle Mike arrives as we exit the Super Bowl party host himself. His face is granite as he faces my mother. 20 years of hosting, he says, and you use my parties to cover up stealing from your own daughter? The family's done with you, Pat. All of us. Mom's mask cracks. Real tears now. But I don't stay to watch them fall. Outside, Portland's rain washes the courthouse steps. My phone buzzes with messages, colleagues offering support. Margaret checking on the book deal. Tara sending heart emojis. A text from Uncle Mike. Proud of you, kiddo. Wish I'd known sooner. I click the phone dark, remembering another rainy day, another phone full of excuses. The frightened girl in the graduation parking lot feels like a stranger now. The courthouse doors open behind me. Detective Morris emerges with evidence boxes. You okay? She asks. I tilt my face to the rain. You know what? For the first time in my life, I really am. The investigation will take months. The headlines will fade. The book will find its audience, but none of that matters right now. I am Lauren Elizabeth Summers. I am free. The rain continues to fall, washing away the last chains of obligation, leaving only truth behind. When forgiveness becomes enabling, the bravest love is letting go. I am just sorry I needed 6 long years to realize it. At the present, the Portland spring rain taps against my office window. 6 years of change spread across the walls and frames photos, certificates, newspaper clippings. My original business degree hangs in the center, those empty auditorium seats captured forever in a snapshot below it. Next to that, a packed conference hall from last month's keynote speech. My reflection watches me from the glass, shoulders straight, chin high. The door opens. Sarah, my newest mentee, clutches a thick folder to her chest. The bank statements you asked for. Her voice trembles. Dad opened 3 credit cards in my name. I gesture to the chair across from my desk. The leather creaks as she sinks into it, shoulders hunched exactly like mine used to be. You're already ahead of where I was, I tell her. You caught it early. Her eyes drift to the wall of photographs. Will I ever stop feeling guilty? The question echoes through 6 years of therapy sessions. Dr. Patterson's voice comes back to me. Guilt is the ghost of expectations we never chose to carry. The guilt changes shape, I say. It becomes something else, something stronger. The intercom buzzes. Miss Summers, your 4 o'clock is here early. The scholarship committee? I smile at Sarah. Want to sit in? See where this path can lead? She nods, spine straightening just a fraction. The conference room fills with board members, successful professionals who've become my chosen family. Tara, my best friend since that first devastating graduation day, takes her usual seat beside me. Under the table, she squeezes my hand. The Lauren Summers Scholarship Fund, I begin, will provide full tuition for survivors of family financial abuse. My voice carries strength I once thought impossible. Every recipient receives mentoring, legal support, and trauma counseling. The projector illuminates our first-year goals. My hand touches the diploma in my pocket, the one I earned 6 years ago. Master's in Business Administration. This time, every seat held someone who chose to be there. Who chose me? Tara and her husband whooped the loudest when I crossed that stage. My therapy group brought flowers. My team from the Financial Abuse Survivors Network filled an entire row. Even my landlord came, the woman who changed my locks that first terrifying night in Portland when my family tried to break in. The meeting ends with unanimous approval. Sarah's eyes shine as board members share their own survival stories. The shame that once paralyzed her begins to crack. Back in my office, I prepare for tonight's TED Talk. Breaking the chains, recognizing family financial abuse glows on my laptop screen. My phone buzzes with a text from Mark. Dinner reservations at 8, proud of you, babe. 3 years of dating, and he's never once asked to borrow money. Never made me feel selfish for having savings. Never questioned why I keep separate accounts. The autumn sun sets behind Portland's skyline as I pack up. My office wall holds one last photo last year's Friendsgiving feast. 20 survivors turned family, crowded around my dining room table. Some crying, some laughing, all healing. My therapy journal sits open on the desk. Today's entry reads, "Peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the presence of choices." The elevator carries me down to the lobby where Mark waits. His smile reaches his eyes the first thing I noticed about him. No hidden agenda. No manipulation. Ready for your big night? He offers his arm. I think of that frozen February morning, standing alone in a parking lot with my first diploma, of Uncle Mike's Super Bowl party that my family chose over my graduation, of my brother's stolen money and my father's gambling debts. I nodded and smiled, and we went to the parking lot. He drove to the event. An hour later, the stage lights warm my face as I take the microphone. 3,000 people lean forward in their seats. My chosen family scattered throughout the crowd, tissues ready. The best revenge, I begin, is a life well lived. But the greatest victory, that's helping others live well too. The words flow without rehearsal. I tell them about empty seats and broken promises. About the weight of expectations and the freedom of boundaries. About building a family from scratch, based on respect instead of blood. In the front row, Sarah sits straighter than I've ever seen her. Behind her, dozens of survivors I've mentored. Their faces reflect back the strength they found within themselves. My hand touches the diploma in my blazer pocket. Not the old one, the new one. The one earned in an auditorium full of love. The standing ovation thunders. Mark beams from his seat. Tara whistles through her fingers. My therapy group bumps fists. The next day, in my office, I adjust the frame holding both graduation photos. Empty seats beside full ones. Broken dreams beside realized ones. My reflection meets my eyes in the glass. The scared girl from that parking lot is gone. In her place stands a woman who finally understands. Sometimes the family you lose is the price of the family you find. I touch my original diploma one last time before heading home. Tomorrow brings another survivor through my door, another chance to turn pain into power. My phone lights up with a text from Sarah. Thank you for showing me what's possible. I smile, typing back 4 words that took me years to learn. You were always possible.
I sit at the kitchen table, watching Mom pack away Dad's life into cardboard boxes. Her hands move with practiced efficiency, wrapping each frame in tissue paper before placing it in the box labeled storage. Not keepsakes or memories, just storage, as if Dad was nothing more than seasonal decorations to be tucked away until convenient. Laughter erupts from upstairs, bright, intrusive, and completely wrong in this house of grief. Tom's children have been here less than a week, and already they've claimed territories like invading armies. The sound of their footsteps overhead feels like someone walking across my heart. I clutch the small wooden box in my lap tighter, my thumb tracing the worn edges. Inside rests Dad's watch, the one Grandpa gave him when he graduated college. The last piece of him Mom hasn't swept away into boxes. The hospice people said this helps with closure. Mom says without looking at me, her voice flat as she wraps another frame, removing the visual reminders. What about me? I want to scream. I'm the visual reminder. Every time she looks at me, she sees him. The stairs creak and Mom straightens, her face transforming. The grief lines smooth away, replaced by something bright and artificial, a smile she never wore for Dad. Tom appears in the doorway, his arms sliding around Mom's waist like he's marking territory. His eyes barely register my presence before focusing completely on her. Honey, we need to talk about your room situation, Mom says, turning toward me. The wooden box grows heavy in my hands. My room situation? Tom clears his throat. Chloe needs a proper bedroom, not that guest room. It's too small for a teenage girl. Mom nods, her fingers intertwining with his. We've been thinking the room by the garage would work better for you, Emily. It's cozy, and you'd have more privacy. The room by the garage. The glorified storage closet Dad converted into an office when the garage flooded 3 years ago. No windows. Half the size of my current room. You want me to move out of my bedroom? The question sounds small and pathetic, even to my own ears. It's not just your house anymore, Emily, Tom says with the patient tone adults reserve for difficult children. We're a family now. 4 months. Dad has been dead 4 months, and already I'm being relocated like furniture that doesn't match the new decor. Rain drummed against black umbrellas that day. Water soaked into the fresh dirt covering Dad's casket, turning the ground into mud that clung to my shoes. I stood there long after everyone left, watching the rain create tiny rivers in the soil. Later, in Mr. Abernathy's office, the family lawyer explained Dad's careful planning with gentle precision. Daniel was very thorough, he said, sliding papers across his desk. 3 properties, investments, insurance policies. Your father wanted to make sure you were always taken care of, Emily. I remember looking up at Mom and seeing something flicker across her fascia, brief tightening around her eyes, a slight downturn of her mouth. Not grief, something harder, colder. The signs appeared slowly after that. Dad's books disappearing from shelves. His workshop in the basement dismantled over a weekend. Then Tom's kids arrived, claiming the best spots on the couch, the newest gaming system, the largest slice of pie. At dinner, they talk over me, around me, but never to me. I've become a ghost in my own home, watching my place settings move farther down the table each night. Yesterday, I found trust paperwork in Mom's drawer while looking for stamps. The pages were covered in yellow highlighter, with notes and handwriting that wasn't Mom's scrawled in the margins. A soft knock pulls me from the memory. I look up to see Chloe standing in my doorway, measuring tape in hand, not even bothering to wait for the official relocation notice. Mom said I could paint it lavender, she says, stretching the tape across my wall. Where are you moving your stuff? The tears come silently, sliding down my cheeks as she measures my bookshelf, cataloging the space as if I've already vacated it. Later, Tom insists on a family photo for his mother. I stand at the edge, my body half in frame, half out, In the final picture, you can barely see just the edge of my shoulder, a sliver of face. My bedroom will be painted over. My place at the table moved. My existence cropped out. Have you ever felt like you were being erased from your own life? Like someone was using correction fluid on your story, blotting out the parts that didn't fit their new narrative? I looked down at the wooden box in my hands. Inside, Dad's watch ticked steadily, the only proof that time is still moving forward, even as everything around me slides backwards. They think I'll just move to that tiny room, except being pushed to the margins of this new family portrait. But Dad made sure I'd be taken care of, and they have no idea what that really means. My books lie scattered across the garage room floor like battlefield casualties. Someone Mom or Tom or even Chloe had simply dumped the boxes and left. My childhood bookshelf, the one Dad built when I was 7, stands empty in the corner of my old bedroom. I know this because I watched Chloe's Instagram story this morning. Her spinning in what used to be my space, the lavender walls already dry. "We moved your things while you were at school," Mom says from the doorway. She doesn't apologize, doesn't ask if I need help organizing. Just stands there in her new cream sweater, the one Tom bought her last week. We need to do what's best for everyone now. I pick up my dog-eared copy of To Kill a Mockingbird from the concrete floor. The page corners are bent, the cover scuffed. "It's cozier in here anyway, kiddo." Tom appears behind Mom, his hand finding her waist with practiced ease. "More privacy." Privacy. Right. The concrete box with no windows and a door that doesn't lock properly. The musty smell of old flood damage that never quite dried. The single bulb hanging from the ceiling that buzzes like an angry wasp. I say nothing. What would be the point? Later, I hear Chloe on the phone through the thin walls. "I know, it's perfect. Mom said I can put in string lights next weekend." A pause. "No, she just took it. Didn't even argue." That night, I find a box marked Donate sitting by the front door. Dad's journals peek out from beneath old sweaters. I recognize the brown leather binding, immediately 12 volumes of his thoughts. Sketches of building projects, quotes he loved. Mom used to tease him about writing everything down. "Your father and his journals," she'd say, but her voice held affection then. I pull them from the box, clutching them to my chest. "What are you doing?" Mom stands at the bottom of the stairs, arms crossed. "These are Dad's journals." "Emily, put those back. We're clearing space." "You can't donate these. You're living in the past." Her voice hardens. "Daniel is gone. We have to move forward." I step backward, still holding the journals. "These are mine." "Fine." She waves a dismissive hand. "Add more clutter to your room." That night, I read by flashlight, the journal spread around me on the twin bed that barely fits in this storage closet they call my room. Dad's handwriting flows across the pages strong, confident. I trace the words with my fingertips. The 12th of March. Met Lisa's friend Tom for dinner. She insists it's not a setup, but I've seen the way she looks at him. The restaurant was his suggestion. Expensive taste. I freeze, checking the date again. The 12th of March. Dad was still alive in March. He was sick, yes, but still coming home every day, still sitting at the kitchen table, still helping me with calculus homework. I flip forward frantically. The 8th of April. Lisa meeting Tom for coffee again. 3rd time this week. Said she needed support from someone who understands. What about me? What about Emily? My stomach twists. I read entry after entry, the truth unfolding like a roadmap to betrayal. By graduation day, I've learned to smile when required. Honor student, scholarship recipient. I stand straight when the principal hands me my diploma, searching the audience for Mom's face. She and Tom sit in the 3rd row, clapping politely. The celebration dinner feels like an ambush. We have something to share, Chloe announces before I've even opened my gifts. She exchanges glances with her father, then looks at Mom, who nods encouragingly. I'm pregnant. Mom clasps her hands together. Isn't it wonderful? We'll need to make some changes around here. Changes? I ask, though I already know. Well, the baby will need to be close to us. She doesn't meet my eyes. We're thinking the nursery should be on the main floor. But I still live here, Mom. Tom clears his throat. For now, Emily. But you're an adult. You'll want your own place soon. The phone rings the next morning. Grandma Margaret's voice sounds stronger than it has in months. Emily, your grandfather and I are worried. We haven't heard from you in weeks. Later that week, I meet Dad's best friend Mike for coffee. He was Dad's contractor partner for 15 years. Your dad knew, Emily. Mike slides a folder across the table. Those properties he left you? He knew this might happen. Mom said I can't touch anything until I'm 21. Mike shakes his head. That's not right. The trust transfers at 20. Your dad was very specific. I visit the attorney the next day. Mr. Abernathy confirms everything. I take careful notes in a new journal, one that looks just like Dad's. 3 months later, I come home from my community college classes to find 2 men carrying my bed out of the garage room. Pink paint cans sit by the door. What's happening? Mom appears from the kitchen. The baby needs to be close to us, Emily. You're hardly ever home anyway. Where are my things? We packed what seemed important. She gestures vaguely towards several garbage bags by the stairs. You can store them at your grandparents' if you need to. This is my home. If you can't support this family's needs, Tom says from behind her, maybe you need to find somewhere else to live. I look at my mother, really look at her. The woman who held me through nightmares and taught me to read. The woman who helped Dad string Christmas lights and laughed when he couldn't carry a tune. The woman who now stares back at me with a stranger's eyes. I pick up one garbage bag, then another, carrying them to my car in silence. The last thing I take is Dad's wooden box, with his watch inside, ticking steady and sure. When someone takes everything from you, do you walk away or wait for the right moment to reclaim what's yours? I had to make that choice, and my decision changed everything. Rain pelts the windshield as I pull into my grandparents' gravel driveway. The wipers struggle against the downpour, matching the rhythm of my sobs. One suitcase. That's all I managed to grab before Lisa made it clear I was no longer welcome in what used to be my home. I sit in the car, watching rivulets of water stream down the glass. The porch light flickers on, and Grandma Margaret appears in the doorway, her silhouette a beacon in the storm. The car door feels impossibly heavy as I push it open. My feet sink into mud as I trudge toward the farmhouse, rain soaking through my thin jacket. Grandma doesn't say a word when I reach the porch. She simply opens her arms, and I collapse into them, my body shaking with the weight of everything I've lost. Your father knew this might happen, she whispers against my wet hair. Not, I'm sorry, or, it'll be okay. Just the truth. The truth Dad saw coming long before I did. Inside, Grandpa George sits at the kitchen table, his weathered hands wrapped around a mug of coffee. His eyes, so much like Dad's, fill with a mixture of sadness and something harder when he sees my state. The attic room is ready for you, Grandma says, taking my suitcase. Has been since the day of the funeral. They were waiting for this moment. They knew Lisa pushed me out completely. That night, in the small attic bedroom with its sloped ceiling and window overlooking bare apple trees, Grandpa brings me a wooden box. Daniel wrote these before he got too sick. He places the box on my bed. Said to give them to you when you needed them most. Inside, neatly stacked letters address milestones my father would never witness. My high school graduation, my first heartbreak, my wedding day. On top sits one simply labeled, When She Pushes You Away. My hands tremble as I unfold the paper. Emily, if you're reading this, your mother has chosen a path I hoped she wouldn't. Remember, what she's doing isn't about you. It never was. The trust will protect what I built for you until you're ready. I made sure of that. But the most important thing isn't the houses or money, it's knowing your worth isn't tied to how others treat you, even family. Margaret and George will show you the ropes. Listen to them. I love you, kiddo, more than any house or possession. Dad. I sleep with the letter under my pillow that night, Dad's words a shield against the nightmares that follow me into sleep. The nightmares come anyway. I'm standing in front of our house, while invisible hands dismantle it brick by brick. I try to stop, but my feet won't move. Lisa watches from the window, Tom beside her, both smiling as the roof caves in. I wake gasping, sheets twisted around my legs, my father's watch clutched in my hand. The phone calls start 2 weeks later. Emily, honey. Lisa's voice drips with fake concern. Tom thinks you should sign over the rental on Maple Street. Just that one. We need to expand our portfolio, and that property would really help us. I say nothing, letting the silence stretch between us. Emily, are you there? This selfish behavior isn't like you. I hang up without responding. 3 months into living with my grandparents, I almost lose my college scholarship when Lisa refuses to sign my financial aid forms. If you're independent enough to leave home, you're independent enough to pay your own way, she says when I confront her. Grandpa drives me to the financial aid office himself. We sit for hours with a counselor who helps me file for independence. The process is brutal, laying bare the family breakdown for strangers to evaluate. From my grandparents' porch, I watch through binoculars as workers carry new furniture into my childhood home. The nursery appears in what was once my father's office, pale yellow walls replacing his deep green. On my 19th birthday, Grandma places a stack of leather-bound ledgers on the kitchen table beside my cake. Your father's business records? She explains. Every property purchase, every renovation, every dollar earned or spent. Daniel built everything from nothing, Emily. He wanted you to understand how. I spend the summer between community college semesters studying those ledgers like sacred texts. I enroll in business courses, property management, real estate law. Every class a stepping stone toward reclaiming what's mine. The first time I walk through one of my houses, the rental on Oak Street, I see it with new eyes. Not just as my father's legacy, but future. I know the aging roof, the outdated kitchen, the potential hiding beneath years of rental wear. The gutters need cleaning, Grandpa George points out during our weekend inspection. Never ignore water issues, they'll cost you triple if you let them fester. Saturdays become renovation days. Grandpa teaching me to replace doorknobs, unclog drains, identify foundation issues. His patience never wavers when I mess up, hands bleeding from rookie mistakes with tools. Sundays are for legal lessons with Grandma, a retired paralegal who spreads Oregon property laws across the dining room table like battle plans. Possession without legal standing is meaningless, she explains, highlighting passages in tenant codes. Lisa and Tom are essentially squatters with a family connection. Dad's old friends appear with job connections, advice, business cards passed over coffee. Daniel helped me start my contracting business, says Mike Holloway, pressing his card into my palm. Time to return the favor. On my bedroom wall, a calendar marks days until my 20th birthday, the date the trust transfers completely into my name. Red X's cross out days like countdown to liberation. The attorney's office is cool and quiet when I visit in June. Miss Richards reviews my rights and responsibilities with clinical precision. You'll have full control of all 3 properties, she explains, including the right to determine occupancy. I create spreadsheets of fair market rent for Portland suburbs. Research eviction procedures. Draft a business plan for property improvements once I have access to the trust income. The formal notice waits in a folder on my desk, 30 days to vacate, my signature line empty until the legal date arrives. On the morning of my 20th birthday, before meeting with the trust administrator, I visit Dad's grave. The August sun warms the granite headstone as I trace his name with my fingers. You made sure I would be okay, Dad. Now I'm going to make you proud. The trust documents feel substantial in my hands when Ms. Richards passes them across her desk hours later. My signature transforms them from potential to actual. from future to present. Grandma's hand rests on my shoulder as we leave the office. "You're ready," she says simply. The question isn't whether I'll deliver the notice to Lisa and Tom. The question is whether I have the courage to take back what's rightfully mine, even if it means standing against my own mother. I slip the notice into my purse, my father's watch heavy on my wrist. I'm ready. I grip the steering wheel of my Honda Civic as I turn onto Willow Creek Lane. My charcoal gray blazer feels stiff against my shoulders, the collar of my white blouse pressing against my throat. The certified letter in my briefcase burns like a living thing. Tom's massive truck sits in the driveway of my childhood home, dwarfing Mom's sensible sedan. Beside it gleams a brand new fishing boat, the price tag probably equivalent to a year's college tuition. My father's money at work. The doorbell echoes inside the house, a sound that once meant I was home, now announcing me as a visitor. When Mom opens the door, her smile freezes mid-formation. For a moment, her eyes widen with something like fear. "Emily?" She blinks rapidly, one hand rising to her throat. "We weren't expecting you." Clearly. I step past her without waiting for an invitation. The scent of unfamiliar potpourri hits me cinnamon and cloves instead of Dad's preferred pine. "Who is it, babe?" Tom's voice calls from the kitchen, followed by heavy footsteps. He appears in the hallway, a beer in one hand, remote in the other. His expression hardens when he sees me. "Well, look who decided to remember where she lives. This isn't a social call." My voice sounds steadier than I feel. I open my briefcase and extract the sealed envelope. "I'm here to deliver this formally." Mom takes it with trembling fingers. "What is this?" "A 30-day notice to vacate the premises." The words hang in the air like smoke. Tom's face flushes crimson while Mom's drains of all color. "You can't be serious." She tears open the envelope, eyes darting across the legal language. A baby cries upstairs. Mom's eyes dart toward the sound, panic replacing shock. "You can't just throw us out. The baby's only 6 months old." Tom steps forward, drawing himself up to his full height. "This is our home now. You can't just take it." "Actually, I can." The trust was very specific. I keep my voice level, the way my attorney coached me. "The property transferred to me on my 20th birthday. I've allowed you to stay rent-free for 3 months already." Footsteps thunder down the stairs as Chloe appears, balancing the baby on one hip. Her hair is pulled into a messy bun, dark circles under her eyes. "What's happening?" "Your stepsister is evicting us," Tom spits out. Chloe's mouth drops open. "Where are we supposed to go?" I adjust the strap of my briefcase, careful not to let my hands shake. "You have 30 days to find a new place. I've been very generous." "Generous?" Mom's voice breaks. "You call this generous? After everything we've done for you?" The laugh escapes before I can stop it, sharp and bitter. "What exactly have you done for me, Mom? Pushed me into a closet? Erased Dad's existence? Made me homeless at 18? That's not fair. Neither was what you did to me." I turn to leave, my heart hammering against my ribs. Mom rushes to the phone, frantically dialing as I walk out. By the time I reach my car, the calls have already begun, my phone lighting up with texts from relatives. "How could you do this to your mother? Your father would be ashamed of you. I never thought you'd be so heartless." I sit in my car, forehead pressed against the steering wheel, doubt creeping in like cold water. Would Dad be ashamed? Am I doing the right thing? 30 days pass in a blur of angry calls and tear-filled voicemails. Mom and Tom leave for a weekend in Arizona, ignoring the deadline completely. Their final act of defiance. When the 30-day mark arrives, I return with Grandpa George and a locksmith. The neighbors watch from their porches as we present our documentation to the confused police officer who responds to their calls. "Ma'am, everything appears to be in order," he tells Mrs. Patterson from next door. "Miss Harper is the legal owner of this property." I walk through the empty rooms after the moving company loads Tom and Lisa's belongings into storage. In the garage, I find Dad's fishing trophies tossed in a trash bin, waiting for collection. I rescue them one by one, wiping dust from the small golden figures. The nursery furniture we carefully place in a climate-controlled storage unit, along with anything truly necessary for the baby. I'm not a monster, despite what my mother's Facebook posts claim. That night, I sleep in my old bedroom for the first time in years. The walls are painted over, but beneath the fresh coat, I know my growth marks still exist, pencil lines marking each birthday, hidden but not erased. The next morning, I'm sipping coffee when car doors slam in the driveway. Tom's truck pulls up, followed by Mom's sedan. Their faces transform from travel-weary to thunderous as they try their keys in the new locks. Police cars arrive minutes later, Tom's doing. But the officers simply review my documentation again and stand by as Tom's threats escalate from legal action to physical intimidation. "Sir, you need to calm down," the older officer warns as Tom's finger jabs toward my face. From the living room window, I watch them drive away, defeated. Mom turns once to look back at the house, her eyes meeting mine through the glass. I don't look away. Sometimes taking back your power means becoming the villain in someone else's story. But was I wrong to reclaim what was legally mine? The aftermath would test my resolve in ways I never imagined. My phone vibrates again, the 5th time in 20 minutes. I don't need to look to know it's another family member I barely speak to, suddenly passionate about my moral failings. 12 voicemails since breakfast, Grandpa George says, placing a mug of coffee in front of me. "Your mother's been busy." I scroll through social media, where Lisa's family has launched their campaign. Aunt Debbie's post has 53 comments, praying for my sister Lisa during this difficult time. No mother should have to endure such cruelty from her own child. Uncle Ray shared a blurry photo of Tom holding the baby. Family means standing together through hard times. Shame on those who forget this sacred bond. Then I see Lisa's tearful video, professionally lit despite her desperate circumstances, mascara artfully smudged beneath red-rimmed eyes. "My own daughter made us homeless," she sobs into the camera, "after everything we've sacrificed for her." The wooden chair creaks as Grandpa settles beside me at the kitchen table. "You holding up okay, kiddo?" I set down the phone. "Half the town thinks I'm a monster." "Not for long," he says, turning his laptop toward me. On screen is his methodical timeline post. Daniel's death date, documentation of my room being taken, screenshots of Lisa refusing to sign my college forms, dated photos of my belongings piled in the garage room, the legal notice delivered 30 days before they were required to move. Comments flood in beneath it. I witnessed how they treated Emily at school events. Her mom never showed up senior year. Their homeless family is staying at a beachfront rental in Newport. My sister cleans for them. Emily's mom pushed her out 2 years ago. I drove her to her grandparents that night. Lisa's carefully constructed narrative crumbles with each new comment. "Truth has a way of surfacing," Grandma Margaret says, joining us at the table. "People remember how you were treated." The ceiling fan turns lazily overhead, casting slow-moving shadows across the quilted placemats. Outside, Oregon rain taps against the windows, a gentle rhythm that's become the soundtrack of my healing. Did I do the right thing? My voice sounds smaller than I want it to. Grandma's weathered hand covers mine. "Your father didn't leave you all this just for you to give it away out of guilt." "But—" "No buts," she interrupts. "Daniel built everything he had from nothing. He protected you the only way he could." The property management company's email arrives with perfect timing. 5 applications for the rental properties, all offering above asking price. The monthly income would cover my tuition and living expenses completely. Dad made sure I would never have to depend on someone who'd already proven untrustworthy. That night, I changed my phone number. The next morning, I watched the renovation team arrive at my childhood home. They tear out the walls where Tom hung photos of his fishing trips, strip the pink paint from my old bedroom, remove the carpet where my father once carried me on his shoulders. Grief and relief tangle together as I watch them work. Some wounds can't heal while you're still bleeding. A certified letter arrives a week later. Lisa's attorney demands family heirlooms she claims belong to her. I recognize the manipulazione legal foot in the door, a reason to pull me back into their orbit. I send back only what truly belonged to her: her grandmother's serving platter, photo albums from before she met Dad, her college yearbooks. Nothing more. The boundary stands. 3 days later, she appears at Grandpa's doorstep. Gone is the polished, grieving mother from the video. Her hair hangs limp, her eyes hollow with defeat. "I just want to talk," she says when I answer. "I made mistakes." I step onto the porch, closing the door behind me. Lisa has rewritten our story so many times that I hardly recognize the original plot. This feels like another revision. "You didn't make mistakes," I say. "You made choices." "Emily, please." Her voice breaks. "You're still my daughter." The words I've held back for years rise to the surface. You chose them over me long before I chose myself over you. Her face crumples, the carefully constructed mask slipping away. For the first time, I see actual remorse in her eyes. "I never thought you'd actually leave," she whispers. "That's because you never really saw me at all." Wind rustles through the oak trees that line Grandpa's driveway. A car passes on the distant road. Life continuing around us, indifferent to our small human drama. "Can we start over?" she asks, reaching for my hand. I step back. "No." Her tears come then, real ones this time. "I'm sorry, Emily, I truly am." "I believe you," I say, and the strange thing is, I do. But some things can't be fixed with an apology. She nods slowly, something like understanding passing between us. No dramatic reconciliation, no promises of holiday dinners and birthday cards. Just acceptance of what we've become to each other. I watch her walk back to her car, her shoulders curved forward like she's fighting against a strong wind. Then I close the door, turn the lock, and return to the family that never asked me to make myself smaller. When family betrays your trust, can those wounds ever truly heal? Or does healing sometimes mean walking away? Some bridges can't be rebuilt, and some shouldn't be. Morning light streams through my Seattle apartment windows, casting golden rectangles across the hardwood floor. I sit cross-legged on my desk chair, surrounded by textbooks and the steady rhythm of rain against glass. 3 years since I stood my ground. 3 years of building something new. The property management report sits open on my laptop. 3 houses, 12 tenants, steady income. Numbers my father would understand. Numbers that built this life. His watch catches the light from its glass case on my desk. I touch the case gently, a ritual I perform each morning before classes. "Still ticking, Dad," I whisper. On my wall hangs a photo from college orientation. Grandma Margaret stands tall despite her arthritis, Grandpa George beaming beside her. Their hands rest protectively on my shoulders. The family that chose to stay. I flip through my therapy journal, pages filled with neat handwriting that gradually becomes stronger, less hesitant. Early entries shake with doubt. Was I wrong to take back what was mine? Should I have compromised? Later ones stand firm. I deserve to protect what Dad built for me. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. My phone buzzes. A text from Rachel inviting me to dinner with our study group. Friends who know me only as Emily the business major, the quiet girl with surprising insight during case studies. Not Emily the displaced daughter. Not Emily who once slept in a glorified closet while strangers claimed her home. Professor Wilson returned our business proposals yesterday, mine marked with a bright A and a note. "Excellent expansion strategy. Your father would be proud." He doesn't know about Dad, but somehow the words feel true anyway. A small award certificate leans against my bookshelf. Recognition for the renovation project I supervised on the Portland property last summer. The tenants sent photos of their children playing in the backyard I once thought I'd never see again. The family newsletter Aunt Linda still sends contains news I read selectively. Mom and Tom separated last spring. No surprise there. Some relationships built on betrayal eventually face their own. Yesterday, An unexpected email appeared in my inbox. Chloe, now a mother herself, writing, I didn't understand then what we took from you. I'm sorry. 3 years too late, but still. Growth happens at different rates for different people. I've responded to some family members, maintained distance from others. Uncle Dave, who stood by me, gets Christmas cards. Cousin Jen, who called me heartless, doesn't. I've learned the freedom of selective forgiveness given freely, but only where earned. Last week, I visited the old house. Stood on the sidewalk watching the Henderson family move in. Their little boy racing through the front yard, his sister carefully carrying her science project to the door. Mrs. Henderson waved from the porch, thanking me again for approving their application. I walked up the familiar steps, touched the doorframe where Dad once marked my height with pencil marks. The Hendersons preserved it, understanding some histories deserve respect. Walking away, I didn't look back. The weight I'd carried lifted years ago. In my campus office, a corner desk in the business building, I framed the trust papers. Not as a reminder of pain, but of protection. Dad's signature at the bottom, the legal language that sheltered me when I had nothing else. My own business cards sit in a holder beside them. Harper Property Management. Small but growing, adding a duplex next spring if projections hold. Yesterday, I visited Dad's grave, placed fresh flowers against the headstone, and sat on the grass beside him. You protected me even when you couldn't be here, I told him, my voice steady in the cemetery quiet. The confused, frightened girl I once was feels like someone I knew long ago, a character in a story I've outgrown. I pressed my palm against the cool stone. I protected what you built for me. The wind stirred the oak trees overhead, scattering light through leaves. Dad always said you judge a life by what remains when you're gone. What remains of his life is me standing tall, moving forward, building something lasting. The greatest inheritance wasn't the houses or the money. It was learning how to stand my ground.